of the most sought after and exclusive bags in the world. If it rains, you'll get those little dots on it. Himalaya is a color, not a type of crocodile. Box leather, they're really durable. Anyways, well, you know what, you've been spending at Monaco, not in my store. I was surprised.
Even super fakes it was able to detect.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not sure if you're allowed to answer.
Yeah, I think I have a few.
But do you have a massive collection of bags? Yes or no?
It's okay.
Hey guys, welcome to the LifestylePop Media studio. And don't forget to subscribe and definitely give us a like, because here we are in the presence of the most sought after and exclusive bags in the world. Now these are Hermès, as you may know or not know. Hermès started off as an equestrian brand. It is the #1 luxury goods brand in the world. And they are the proud producers of the Hermès Birkin, the Hermès Kelly, and the Hermès Constance. Now they produce a vast variety of other bags as well, which we'll get to. I'm going to start with an introduction to the bags. So we've got the Birkin. For those who don't know, the most classic Birkin was the 35 centimeter, which today is not the most popular size because everybody's after small minis. And the mini size of the Birkin, the most used and owned, is the 25 centimeter, but here is the 35 centimeter Birkin. Now, this is a crocodile Birkin, but they come in all kinds of leathers. In fact, I've got one with me today. Could you please pass me my green? So this is a regular Togo 35 centimeter. That's what I'm wearing today. This is a crocodile one. Then there is the 30 centimeter Birkin. And of course, there is the 25 centimeter Birkin. Now, the most famous Hermès bag is the Birkin. It's called the Birkin, sorry for that. It's called the Birkin after Jane Birkin, who was a French actress who ended up sitting by Jean-Louis Dumas on a flight. Now, the details are fuzzy, but the point is that her bag fell on the ground and all of her belongings fell out of it. And she was discussing with him, with the passenger next to her, how uncomfortable it is and how there aren't any good travel bags, etc., etc. And he, in fact, drew the design of the Birkin right there on that flight. The rest is history. Hermès produced the Birkin bag in the 35 centimeter size. It was meant to be this slouchy, comfortable travel bag. For some, it still is. And then it became a beacon. Everybody wanted the Birkin. Now, that's just a short story. Then there is the Kelly, which was initially called Sac à Dépêche. This was produced by the son-in-law of Hermès, Robert Dumas. Not produced, designed. So yeah, anyways, the point is that it was called Sac à Dépêche up until the 50s when Grace Kelly, the Princess of Monaco and famous Hollywood actress, wore the Kelly in a Hitchcock film. After which she started carrying the Kelly and covering her baby bump with it. This is all very famous information, and most of the people who are watching this video most likely already know this. So I'm preaching to the choir, most probably. Anyways, the point is that at that time, it was only produced in cellier style, which are these two here. I'll take the smaller one as it's easier to handle. So cellier means a bag that the stitching of this bag is on the outside. And then there's the retourné, where the stitching is on the outside. So see, there's like a little pipeline, they call it. Anyways, point is that these bags are ridiculously popular and they have an immense resale value, including the Constance, which is not a Quota bag, in fact. So what is a Quota bag, first of all? A Quota bag is basically a style that you can only acquire once or twice per year. So in Hermès boutiques around the world, you can only buy one Birkin and one Kelly, or two Birkins and two Kellys, depending on your preferences, and some would say depending on your luck, because once again, everybody knows it's extremely difficult to, as they call it, score an Hermès bag. Now, I have a personal opinion on this, which I will share with you later about the scoring bit. Anyway, so let's move on to the Constance. This one is a 20, the Constance comes in two sizes. So this one is a 29 centimeter Constance, and then there's the mini. So we've got an ostrich leather Constance bag here and box leather, which is one of the original Hermès productions. Not one of those leathers that most people would like to acquire, as it's very easily scratched. As you can see, mine here is full of scratches, but I actually like it that way. I think it's quite cool and looks more authentic. Anyways, so the Constance was designed in the 50s when the head designer of Hermès at that time gave birth to a little girl, named her Constance, and that was the same day that this bag made it onto the market, and she decided to name it after her daughter, Constance. So there we go. That's the little history behind the three iconic Hermès bags that double in price the minute you leave the store, if you're so lucky to buy it in store. Anyways, as I previously explained, there's the different sizes of the Birkin, there's the different sizes of the Constance that I already mentioned. Now then there's the Kelly. So the Kelly comes in a 35 centimeter size, which I actually do not have here because I don't wear the 35 size. The next one is, this is the 32 centimeter Kelly in gold, and then there is the 28 centimeter Kelly. This is the size difference right there. And this is the 25 Cellier. I don't actually have a retourné 25 size Kelly. They do exist though. Anyways, my favorite and my personally favorite size is the 28. This is a 28 as well, as I previously mentioned, but in a Cellier. Anyways, so everybody, as I mentioned before, most of the time, the idea that you have to score an Hermès bag, what does this initially mean? So you come to a store, and most of the time, I'll tell you my story, for example. Before, when I was much younger, and I went to Hermès boutiques all over the world, and I was like, okay, you know what? I want a bag. I'm going to ask them for a bag. I wasn't an Hermès fan initially. The appreciation came much later. And in fact, I'm not sure if it was first, I think the reason I first got into it is because they told me I can't have it. Only after years of use, I realized that actually it's a very, very convenient and comfortable bag, and you can dress it up, you can dress it down, and I mean, again, you can buy a Cellier or have a mini Constance, which is very classic, and then you can have a really, really slouchy Kelly, and you can look very boho with it, and you can, you know, style it however you like, basically. And you can fit a lot of things in it. So yeah, first things first, how to get an Hermès bag. Now, there is no answer to this. There's a lot of videos on YouTube and everywhere else where they're talking about how, you know, you need to come and you need to like get on the list and whatnot. And yes, this is all true. But you can stay on the list for 5 years and never actually get a bag, or you can get lucky and get a bag on your first try. But now you may have also noticed that there's a lot of different leathers, textures, and colors, obviously. The value of each bag on the resale market especially strongly depends on its color, how rare the color is, on the skin or the leather, and how rare that leather is. And these are the following classifications in terms of leather, for example. So there's Epsom leather, then there's Togo leather. Now this is the difference between the two. Now Togo leather is a natural leather. So is Epsom. But if you see the grainy bit on a Togo, as I previously said, it's natural. It comes this way. The Epsom is a print. Now it's embossed. It's not a print, it's embossed. Sorry, I'm gonna rephrase that. So whatever machinery they use to emboss the Epsom leather, It's very hard, it's very sturdy, it's very, very popular, and people like it because it keeps its shape over the years. The Togo and the Chèvre don't really keep their shape, so you can see my gold one here is bent quite significantly. But again, it depends on what you like. I mean, I love Togo leather because I like that whole slouchy boho look. So, I mean, clearly I don't mind it. Now, then there is ostrich. Here's the Vert Veron ostrich Constance. Then, of course, there is alligator. I'll go with the Bougainvillea alligator. So this is the 25 centimeter Birkin, Bougainvillea with palladium hardware. And this is, not to sound crude, but the cheapest of the crocodile family. Anyways, nonetheless popular. I personally love alligator skin more than I like crocodile skin. The difference is, in fact, crocodile skin always has a little dot on its scales. So there's a tiny little dot here on every single scale. Alligator skin doesn't have that. I learned this a long, long time ago, way before my Hermès bag obsession. It was, in fact, when I got my first crocodile bag. It was a Fendi. I was 20 years old. It was a gift from my mom. I remember I was getting the right documentation to be able to travel with it, because back then we already started using CITES, in order to travel with your exotic skin. Which leads to the fact that the ostrich skin is my favorite, because ostrich skin does not need any CITES or CITES or any other documentation to travel with. So my crocodile bags, they always have that little paper with them if I'm traveling with them. Anyways, then there's Porosus crocodile, which is actually the most exclusive and the most expensive of the Hermès skins, leathers and exotic skins. Now we've got two of these here. They're both Porosus and they're both shiny leather, not the most sought after leather, because I personally am not a big fan of shiny croc skin, because if it rains, they're not very durable. If it rains, you'll get those little dots on it. I'm gonna find a few here. Maybe I won't because I'm very careful with them. But you're gonna see some dots that you will never get out unless you send it to Hermès for them to fix, etc. Then, of course, there's the Niloticus crocodile, which also they produce many different bags in many different colors in Nilo. The most famous is probably the Himalaya. Himalaya is a color, not a type of crocodile. Because a lot of people think that it's an actual Himalayan crocodile. There's no crocodiles in the Himalayas, guys. That's Nepal in the mountains. Anyways, those are all the different skins that I have here in my presence. As I said, my favorite is an ostrich skin bag, both aesthetically, durability-wise, and value-wise. The second favorite is obviously alligator, and then, I mean, I'd be lying if I say I don't like a Nilo croc or a Porosus croc. Of course I do, but not for use. As simple as that. Anyways, so in terms of sizing as well, like if anybody wants to hear my comments, the 35 size was one of those, you know, persona non grata bags for me. Every time I was offered a 35 centimeter Birkin, I would always kind of look at my essay like, really, that's what you're offering me? I mean, you know, I don't really want a 35 centimeter massive suitcase looking bag. But actually they've proven quite useful since I've had a child, because it's really easy to, like, you know, throw all your junk in it and it fits everything. And you just go out of town, and if you're going to work, it fits your computer, it fits your notebook, it fits your makeup bag, and whatever else that you might need. Okay, now the most interesting part, supply and demand. Now, there is much more demand than there is supply, as with most luxury products, most luxury services, etc. But the situation here is a little bit more peculiar. Most of the time, if you enter an Hermès boutique and you're not a client of theirs, and you approach an SA and you tell them, you know what, I'm here, and most of the time it looks quite hilarious, because I've seen this on a daily basis. People come in, stroll around the store, looking at different clothes, and then calmly come and approach somebody, and they're like, "Hi, how are you? Whatever, da, da, da. I'm looking for a bag." Now, this is the worst thing you can possibly do. And this whole stroll around the store, they know what you're doing, okay? They know you're after a Kelly or a Birkin. And this discussion like, "Oh, I'd like a bag." And then they go, "What bag?" And you go, "Oh, a Kelly or a Birkin." And the answer is, "Oh, we don't have any at the moment, but you can get on the wait list." If that. Some places, they won't even tell you that. Some essays are, in fact, like, if you're watching this, be nicer to your clients. Doesn't matter if they're your regulars or not. Because I myself have entered boutiques where I'm a very regular client in ready-to-wear, in homeware, furniture, shoes, and so is my husband. And just because somebody was new and didn't know me, let's say, or well, for whatever reason, they just basically shot me down, to which I had to actually tell them, "No, guys, like, I'm in the system," etc. So the way this works is they check your name in the system, and if you're a good enough client, then, you know, they want to hear what exactly it is that you want. If you're not in the system at all, then most likely it's going to be very hard for you to acquire any bag. In some places, even any bag, because I've actually been to stores in London where I see a Gypsy Air bag, which is not a Quota bag, and they've told me that no, it's not for sale, this is just a display bag, because even those are in really high demand, and most likely they want to keep it for some regular client of theirs, which is absolutely fair, because if somebody is, let's say, spending on other goods that Hermès is producing, and they enter the store once in a blue moon and decide they want a bag, that particular store needs to have a bag to offer them. I mean, to be honest with you, the whole Quota bag system is a straight up business deal. It's kind of like you have to be in the system, you have to spend regularly on other items in order to be offered or be able to ask for a bag. And you do not need to spend any ridiculous amounts of money. You can spend on other things such as scarves, shoes, etc. Now, Hermès creates a lot of amazing pieces in their ready-to-wear. They have amazing coats and jackets of different price ranges. The scarves are to die for. The shoes, I mean, the shoes are immaculate, really. I mean, and not just the jumping boots or the Neo boots. They've got or the Oran slipper. There's a lot of other options which are not so publicized, but incredibly comfortable and aesthetically pleasing, and more than anything, timeless. I'm obviously a big fan of the brand. This is basically the story in short with why somebody goes to Hermès and gets rejected for a bag. The bag on its own is already exclusive. Epsom bag, a Togo bag, whether Kelly, Birkin, or Constance is it. It's sought after. The resale value is massive. You buy a bag for 7K or 8K, depending if it's pounds or euros, and literally you can leave the store and the value goes up double and it becomes 14K or 16K. Like, no joke. It's one of the only things in the world that leaves the store and goes up in value automatically. But then there's the exclusive guys, the real big boys, not just the crocodiles, the specific type of crocodiles. And of course, there's the HSS, which you've likely seen. It's normally dual color, or it just has the horse, even the dual color has the horseshoe stamp. But this is a special order bag. Now, if you're a good enough client, very often Hermès invites you for the special order experience. For example, let's take this bag here. Now, this is a saffron ostrich bag with brushed gold hardware. People are afraid of opening these bags because they think they're gonna scratch them or whatever, but unless it's box leather, they're really durable. Anyways, so there's the horseshoe stamp. And this was a special order. Now, special order bags have limitations. People think that you can just order whatever you like. You cannot. You choose the type of bag you want, the size you want. Then you choose the type of leather you want. And then in that type of leather, they'll show you the colors that are available that season for order. And something in the bag has to be different. It has to either be the stitching or the pipelines. You can have a dual color Birkin or Kelly. Mine here, for example, has a different color in the interior because I wanted a monocolor. This was my first special order bag, so I really wanted a monocolor bag. So I just went with that. Although I've made a recent special order and they've told me that I cannot have the same stitching on the outside. Although here I have a special order bag with exactly the same color stitching. So I don't know what they were on about. But anyways, the rules change all the time and you kind of have to obey no matter how good of a client you are. Anyways, so yeah, this is a very special bag. And I got it in Hermès. This was my first special order. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I love it. And you know that moment when they offer you a special order, you're like sitting there and like, oh my God, which one do I want? Which one do I want? And when you read all these articles on these bag blogs, like Bags of Luxury, and then there's a few more, I can't remember the names. Anyways, when you read their articles, you're like, think about what you want so that when you're there at your appointment, you know what to ask for. Okay? When you're in that moment and you see all these colors in front of you, you have no idea what to choose. In fact, there's also stitching that you can choose. Now that I recall, yeah, you can choose different stitching. Then, of course, there's the Himalaya. Now, the Himalaya is the holy grail of Hermès bags. It is actually, in fact, everybody thinks it's the one that goes up in value the most. There are a few other ones like bubble gum that also have the similar resale value. I'm not going to name any store prices at this point, but relatively well priced for what it is at the Hermès boutique. Nilo Himalayan Birkin goes up in value triple the minute you leave the store with it. They can go up to 120,000, 150,000 euros. The one with diamonds, there's been on record, I think they've been sold for 350,000, but there are it depends on where they're selling it, because in the US, I think it even goes for 500,000, which is $500,000. So insane value. Anyways, we can dream on. Then there was also the Touch bag. So Touch was very popular. Now it's Togo leather, and then the handles are in croc, alligator, not croc. So these guys were very popular because they were relatively well priced, and the resale value was massive, just for that little bit of croc, but also because of its exclusivity. So obviously this is it's been created using leftover alligator skin from other full alligator bags, or shoes, or I don't know, boots from an alligator skin. But the point is, it doesn't undermine the craftsmanship. Even if it's, because somebody actually said this to me, oh, you know this patchwork, there's this patchwork bag, which I'll show you later on, which is 7 different types of different colors, 5 different skins, and it's incredibly exclusive, and the resale value is incredibly high. Just for you to understand, I said I'm not going to name store prices, but this is an exception because it's such an exclusive item. It was sold for, like, let's say 17,000 euros in store, and the resale value on first dibs is 72,000 pounds. So that's a massive margin, right? So anyways, the point is that a friend of mine actually said to me, oh, but what do you mean? Like, they just used scraps of their other good leather goods to create this bag. What's so exclusive about it? This and that. Well, that's just good business. At the end of the day, it's still a beautiful bag. And it's still, Hermès will never, ever sell anything that's not up to a certain quality. The stitching on these bags is immaculate. Now, if people often compare it to Chanel. Now, I am a fan of Chanel. I wear Chanel a lot. Chanel bags that I've bought in store have very often, like the stitching has come undone, or the interlocked, like the leather in the skin has come apart, and I had to take it back to Chanel for them to fix it, etc. Like with Hermès, this has never happened to me, ever. They have some sort of triple stitching system. From what I know, they stitch their handbags exactly the way they stitch saddles for horse riding. So imagine how sturdy these bags must be. They're indestructible, literally. I mean, unless some natural catastrophe happens, like these bags, I mean, nothing can really happen to them. In fact, if something does happen to one of your bags and you've bought them in an Hermès boutique, I mean, even if you haven't bought it in that particular Hermès boutique, you can take it to the store as a client and you can ask them to revive it for you. This happened to my HAC. Now, take a look at this. Okay, so first of all, this is the first Hermès bag ever created. It's called Haute, in short HAC. So the Birkin was actually, I mean, you can tell they're pretty similar. Made based on this design. So it comes in a number of different leathers, skins, colors, just like any other bag. There's exclusive bags, very popular with men. They come in the size 50, which is this one, very, very comfortable for travel. And there's the size 40, and then there's actually smaller sizes, which people even use as handbags. I've never come across one in a store. So I don't know if it's a myth or not. There's a lot of Hermès myths, and even the SAs don't actually know some things, by the way. Just keep that in mind. So if you see information online, it may or may not be true. You can ask your local SA if you have an SA, if you're a client of Hermès, but they might not even know. Anyways, the point is that this particular one was bought in Switzerland, in Geneva. My little doggy, who passed away last year, but at that time he was going through something. He had some sort of deficiencies, and he decided to chew the handle of this HAC bag. It was destroyed. Now, we took it to Monaco Hermès, which is not where we acquired it, and we asked them to send it to get fixed. Within 5 months, as good as new, okay? So it's completely justifiable. This brand takes care of their clients. They are not as contrary to what people believe, but they do cater to the level of client that you are, which sounds horrible, but imagine if you go to a restaurant, you know, you're spending there every day, you know them, you high-five them at the door, etc. And then suddenly one day they tell you that they haven't got a table for you. And not in the sense that like, oh no, dude, wait 5-10 minutes, we'll sort something out. They literally tell you, go away. You're not going to have a table, not today, not tomorrow, not the next day. So forget it, buddy. That's basically what we are saying. That's basically what would happen to a regular client of Hermès if they start giving bags out to everybody who asks. I mean, at the end of the day, it wouldn't be fair, would it, to their, you know, loyal customers. Now, another thing that is quite funny, actually, this one is hilarious, in fact. Like, if you're a client of a certain boutique, you need to stay loyal to them. Because if you start spending at another boutique, they're going to see it in the system, if it's within the same country, of course. They're going to see it because the Hermès system is not centralized, it's centralized per country. So, given most people live in one country, they can see if you've spent at an Hermès boutique across the road or in another city, and they get jealous. Because if they're scratching your back, you have to scratch their back. Because the boutiques, they're all flagship boutiques. Hermès, a long time ago, closed any other corporations. So it's kind of a competition, how they sell and how much they sell of their ready-to-wear, of their homeware, of their shoes, men's collections, etc., etc. So if, let's say, you are buying in Saint-Tropez, this has happened to me, actually. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. So my husband used to be a really good client of the Saint-Tropez Hermès boutique, because we summered there a lot, and then he would go and buy his like shorts and, you know, little polos, etc. the men's slippers. So anyways, and at that time I wasn't so much, I mean I was, but I wasn't really into like the Birkins, and that's the only thing they would offer me. They never actually offered a Kelly. And I remember once I went in with my sister, and they offered her a crocodile Kelly. And I asked them for a bag as well, and they brought out 2 ostrich Birkins. I don't actually have that one here, but I will show it to you later. 2 ostrich Birkins to choose from, a regular skin Birkin. I think it was a Togo leather. And I took that ostrich one. I remember it was a rose pourpre color, a very popular color, in fact. Anyways, and then, I mean, I was in a good relationship. It was the director of the store who sold it to us, and that's it. I went back to Monaco, and I was shopping in Monaco, as my father was a client in the Monaco boutique, and I was a client at the Monaco boutique, and I was buying things that had nothing to do with bags, my regular shopping. And half a year later, I go to Saint-Tropez, and because it's a centralized system, they can see I'm a good client. So the guy asks, I'm like, listen, I'm looking for a bag. I'm not going to beat around the bush. He goes like, oh, you know, but there's no bags. I was like, no, I'm a client. Like, I want the bag. So, and because I hadn't bought a bag that year, I could acquire 1 or 2 bags. You can have 1 or 2 bags a year. So he opens my account. He's like, okay. He's like, let me see what I've got. He goes in the back. He comes out and he brings me a Birkin Tressage, which I don't have here. But I mean, with all due respect to everything Hermès does, this was not my style at all. So I looked at him and I was like, listen, dude, I mean, offer me something better. I don't want this bag. To which he goes like, no, but this is all we have. This is all we have. Because, as I previously mentioned, they could not give me a bag. They had to offer me something. And that was the only thing they offered. So when I was downstairs paying for this bag, because obviously I wanted to take it. It is a Birkin at the end of the day. I saw the director of the store and I asked her, I was like, can you just give me something better? I mean, you know, we know each other. She was like, but what do you mean better? This is a very exclusive bag. To which I was like, no, I would like something in an exotic skin perhaps or whatever. To which she goes like, well, we keep our exotic skins for our clients. So basically the point was that, well, you know what, you've been spending at Monaco, not in my store, so I'm not giving you a freaking crocodile or an ostrich skin bag. That's exactly what happened, guys. And I returned the bag, of course. I returned the bag because I get only 2 bags a year. I'm not going to take something I don't like because I actually buy to wear my bags. So if I was, let's say, a reseller or something like that, I'd be like, okay, you know what, there's a market for it, and anyways, it's going to go up in price. But that's not what's happening here. I'm a consumer and a big lover of these bags. So that's my story. And then I have, I mean, to go back to the special order bags. Now, one of the bags I really want to talk about is the Berlin. Now, Hermès has many styles. Bolide, Evelyn, Roulis, as I previously mentioned, Gypsy Air, and the Berlin style. Now, Gypsy Air is a very popular bag as well amongst the fashion crowd. A lot of influencers and stuff post the Gypsy Air bag. Not so much the Berlin. The Bolide is a very popular bag for real Hermès connoisseurs, like not the Insta influencers and stuff, but like women who actually, you know, wear the brand for its quality and not just the bags. Evelyn is a very cute bag, in fact, and I think I would get some for my daughter. They're not the most expensive Hermès bags, and my daughter's name is Evelyn, so it really applies. But anyways, so the Berlin. Now, it's a crossbody bag, very convenient, just like the Gypsy Air, and I'm a big fan of Gypsy Air as well, but I somehow love the Berlin a little bit more. And I was obsessed with this bag. I got only one in Bleu Paon. I can show you that one later. In fact, in Saint-Tropez, in that boutique I just told you about. Hilarious. Anyways, and I wanted to get another one. So I was in my local Monaco store, and I asked them for a Berlin, and they didn't have any, and I was like, well, can I order one, etc. And after 6 months of waiting whether I could order one, specifically in crocodile, they came back to me and they told me that yes, you can order one in crocodile, but the stitching part cannot be in crocodile. It will have to be in normal leather, because basically at the level of Hermès's craftsmanship, they cannot create it with crocodile here. So basically they had to actually think about how to make this bag. This is, unless in the last 2 years somebody else has ordered a Berlin crocodile bag, this is the only crocodile Berlin bag in the world. It's gris perle, the color. I chose it because once they told me that, you know, this is what's available, I said, yes, I want to order it. They told me what the color options were, and obviously gris perle, which is gray pearl, is in translation from French, is one of the most popular popular colors that Hermès has produced in the last few years. It's next to bubblegum and Himalaya, most likely, in popularity. So yeah, and emerald. Anyways, so a big treasure here, and for me. I'm not sure, there is no resale value to this bag. Not the same way the other Birkins and Kellys, because the only reason there's such a high resale value is because there's such a high demand for these bags. And unfortunately, this is the part where I'm on the side of Hermès. The demand is not for the quality of the bag. The demand is not for the leather of the bag. The demand is not for what the history of the brand represents to you. People are quite literally after a trend, a very long-term trend. They think that owning a Birkin gives you some sort of status. It does not. I mean, items don't give you status. Items don't give you a certain lifestyle. You have to have the lifestyle, and the lifestyle is in your head. You know what I mean? So, but that's a whole other video that I will probably record for you guys to put better perspective on what a luxury lifestyle actually is. So obviously the resale market is massive, and it's absolutely normal. Look, I've bought resale bags. Like, for example, if you take a look at this one, this is a used bag. I mean, I was in a resale store, consignment store, whatever. I saw it and I loved it. And the guy's like, oh yeah, it's a used one, because normally I'm only interested in new bags, obviously. But I was like, you know what? If the owner agrees to a good price, I mean, why not? And yes, okay, it's pre-loved, somebody's used it before, but it's in great condition. And again, as I said before, and I repeated myself many times, it's a little boho, it's a little cool. So why not, you know? I don't shy away just because somebody else has used it, you know. This one is a resale bag, this one is a resale bag. But that's about it. I try not to buy too many resale items, because I don't like to pay a premium on something that I can acquire from the store for a much better price, especially because I am a client of the store, and I do like their clothes, I do like their shoes, I do like either other items sold by the brand. So there's no necessity for me to pay a premium elsewhere. So yeah, although some people would say that, you know, it's easier for them to go and pay a higher price and get the exact bag they want and the exact color they want. You can literally sell a used bag with a fair amount of wear and tear for the same amount you would buy a new one in the store. I mean, my used gold Kelly with white stitching, because it's been used, costs, the resale price is exactly what a new Kelly in store right now would cost, plus minus. So, I mean, just to put it in perspective. Anyways, we will get a much better perspective on resale bags from one of the most successful resellers in Europe at the moment. Well, in the UK at the very least. A friend of mine, the owner of Cellier Knightsbridge, has moved to Monaco. and we're going to go and have a chat with her about resale, about how influencers fuel the market, about fake bags and how to avoid buying fake bags at a reseller, etc. So let's go and have a chat with Hanushka Tony at Cellier Monaco. Guys, I am here with Hanushka Tony, the founder of Cellier Knightsbridge, the #1 luxury handbag reseller, and now they have moved to Monaco.
Yes, we have.
Yay! Amazing store, I love it.
Thank you so
Beautiful,
much.
yeah. This is your EU headquarters, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Nice, very nice. I'm super excited to talk to you about all the bags, the shop, and your move. So guys, the first part of this video was about Hermès bags. And as I previously mentioned, Cellier is one of the most successful Hermès bag resellers. But before we get into the bags, I want to ask about the store itself, about your story, your history. How did you get into this? So first and foremost, who are you?
So we started this business around 3 years ago, and since then it's been kind of on a crazy upward trajectory. Before that, actually, my life was nothing to do with handbags. I was a city lawyer, then I had a little change of career and I started doing digital marketing and ended up being the creative director for a luxury digital marketing company. Then my mum wanted to open a consignment store in Knightsbridge. So we opened as a small little brick and mortar retailer, and this was in 2019. And then shortly after we opened, COVID hit. So that is when we pivoted our business and became the business that you know and see today. So we're very much online driven. We sell through social media, and we do have the fastest sell-through rate in the pre-loved industry out there.
That's amazing. In fact, I actually read about this in your Q&As on your website because I tried to do some research before coming here. Why Cellier?
It was, my mum thought it sounded good, and it's also a little homage to Hermès that is obviously at the core of our business.
Okay, that's nice. Well, you guys expanded fairly quickly. Even though you had great success in the UK, I was surprised to see the news of you moving to Monaco. Yeah. Had this anything to do with Brexit or,
So it's really interesting. Yeah. Pre-Brexit, we were doing amazing sales to the EU. So around 30 to 40% of our sales were represented by countries in the European Union. After Brexit, almost overnight, we just completely lost that revenue. So we saw it as a big opportunity to come to Europe and build up our business here with both local consignors, but also serving the European market.
Okay, so I assume most of your sales are online then?
Around 95% of everything we sell is online, and it's amazing because we sell £20,000 handbags online to a different country to someone who's never seen it.
Do the customers not worry about the quality and the fair wear and tear and whether it's
I think maybe that's a concern when you're buying for the first time off a platform, but it's really interesting because our returning customer rate is 45% in a month. So 45% of all clients make more than one order a month, which is unheard of in the industry. And it just goes to show how meticulous we are about condition and descriptions and everything we do.
How do you guarantee quality? Do you, for example, if a seller is selling a bag, do you keep the bag or does the seller keep the bag until a sale happens?
We always keep the bag because we need to be able to market it, to show it to our customers. And then in terms of guaranteeing quality, we have quite a tight curation process. So we only take bags that we think are of sufficient quality for our buyers, and we won't take anything that's not.
I see, but you do sell used bags, right?
Yeah, everything is used. Okay. Actually, 95% of stuff.
Really? It's not new bags that are pre-owned, or?
No. Yeah. Most of them are used. We do have some new stock, but most of it is pre-loved.
Okay, that's very interesting. And how about insurance? For example, if a seller trusts you with their purchase and, I don't know, it gets stolen or damaged or whatever, you're insured and insurance covers this? Or
Yeah, no, we're fully insured, so literally a seller has nothing to worry about. Most of the time they deposit a bag with us and they're paid by the end of the day.
Okay,
so
and the non-returns policy is just for bags or any luxury goods that you're selling?
So in the industry, generally with pre-loved stock, because the underlying items belong to private sellers, that's exempt from the distance selling regulations. So companies like Resale Collective, eBay, us, and most other online pre-loved retailers don't offer returns.
Okay. Well, in some companies they offer return within 72 hours or something like that, but that's about it.
You can relist an item on Resale Collective within 72 hours.
Yes,
but you can't
relist,
return it.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you can relist it on the platform. Yes, exactly. So tell me a little bit about the bags. How do you authenticate them?
So authentication is actually very much in depth. So we go through a 3-stage process with most items. Some items we get even more in depth with. So for example, something like this Chanel Classic Flap. First of all, it will initially come in and it will be reviewed by our team internally. Now, all of us have seen so many of these bags, we will immediately know whether it's authentic or fake. But we don't stop there because obviously it's important to go through all the steps. Then it goes to a third-party authenticator who's an expert in Chanel. So they'll review the bag based on around 50 images. So they'll say yay or nay. It's always,
of course,
inevitably yes. And then we finish by using something called entropy, which is a microscopic technology. So what it does, it's really amazing.
Oh my God, you're gonna need to give me all this info.
It's really amazing. You take this little microscope and you do shots, close-up detail shots of an item. It then scans the shots across a catalogue of thousands of images of both authentic and fakes. And within an hour, it comes up with a response saying real or fake. Now, when we started using the technology, I tested it on so many bags and it is absolutely flawless. Even super fakes it was able to detect.
I have actually, I've encountered this technology, this digital authenticator. But it's, I mean, obviously for goods that cost this much, it's very important to have like a, 2-stage or 3-stage, but you do have a live authenticator, an expert who actually looks at the bags as well. That's really, that's
it's important.
It's very important, exactly, because I would not want to buy a 25,000 pound bag and it ended up being fake. Have you ever encountered a fake?
Yes, of course. I mean, people who aren't familiar with our business will regularly sometimes try and bring in a fake bag to sell, either knowingly or unknowingly. And I mean, 10 out of 10 times we spot it and say, there's a problem here.
Really?
Yeah,
and you believe that they were unknowingly bringing
I mean, it's probably a mix. You can never really know, but
yeah, of course. Can I?
Yeah, of course.
What about the vintage bags? I mean, what would you say was the better investment? Because this is a vintage, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So at the moment, vintage has skyrocketed in terms of popularity. And that especially goes for Chanel 90s vintage. It's really having a moment. Now, one of the reasons that vintage is so popular is the perception that it was made of far better quality than modern bags. So for example, this vintage bag has 24 karat gold plated hardware. So Chanel used to make all their bags with real gold and they stopped that in 2008. Now you pay around $7,500 for a Chanel Maxi.
You pay more and the quality is lesser. Exactly what I mentioned in the video earlier. Yeah.
Also, the way that the leathers were tanned is just far superior in vintage models, so they are really having a lot of demand.
What do you think about the price markups? Because, for example, a few years ago, for a vintage Chanel was much more expensive than a Chanel you would buy in store, which was one of the reasons why a lot of people would go for a vintage Chanel bag, because it was an investment.
Yes.
But today, the store prices have actually, they've marked them up to the same price as a vintage would be on Vestiaire or Salière or...
So it's interesting because Chanel in the past 2 years, this really started with COVID, has had maybe 4 or 5 price increases. So the bags have virtually gone up by 30 to 40% depending on the model.
Yeah.
And that again is another reason people are so much more interested in vintage, because obviously it's a superior product and the prices are still quite reasonable.
What is an average, the average price for a vintage Chanel bag?
A vintage classic flat, for example, would be anywhere between 4,000 to 4,500, because there is so much demand for them. If you were buying this brand new, it would be around 6.5k to 7k, depending on what country you purchased it in.
Okay. What I've noticed is that do you sell a lot of crocodile bags, or does this have to do with the?
No, we do absolutely sell exotics.
Yeah.
So the main brand, obviously, that produces exotics today is Hermès.
Yeah.
What we found is that the market for exotics is obviously slightly different because it's smaller and the bags are trading at higher premiums. So when Tell me. Well, we do take them there cheaper, basically.
I don't mean just exotics, because ostrich, for example, it is not a protected species, so we don't need the CITES in order to travel with an ostrich bag. But the crocodile, it demands a lot of paperwork, and also, I mean, some states in the US, for example, have already have banned the sale of crocodile goods. Such as bags, jackets, etc. So that's what I mean. I mean, has this affected your sales? Because a lot of people that I speak to who are consumers, Hermès consumers, they have stopped buying Crocs for this particular reason.
Interesting.
They are afraid that they're going to be banned from using them.
Oh gosh.
Imagine.
We haven't really had that because we don't sell a huge volume of them, and the people who do buy them, they're very much collectors. They love exotics, so that they take a view.
Why do you think these bags, besides the demand, obviously we all know why they are in such demand, but why are they such an investment piece? I mean, 2 years ago it was a better investment than gold.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was 2009, I believe, right?
Yeah,
this article surfaced.
So I think increasingly over the past 3 years, handbags have very much become an investment class in their own right. So whereas before, kind of you had the very traditional asset classes of gold, financial instruments, property, now people increasingly see them as a store of wealth. And I think one of the reasons for that is that they're incredibly liquid. So if you have kind of something really desirable from Chanel or Hermès, you're able to sell it almost immediately, which is again another reason why people really are interested in this particular asset class.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not sure if you're allowed to answer. I mean, of course you're allowed to answer, but I don't know whether you'll want to. Is it Chanel or Hermès for you?
Oh, I don't know. I do kind of waver between the two. I guess at the moment I'm having a bit of a Chanel moment, but normally
I am too somehow. I don't know why. Even though, Birkin or Kelly? Sorry.
Birkin or Kelly? I would say, Birkin.
Birkin.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a Kelly girl. Definitely a Kelly girl. Although I love the Birkin, I think it's very, very usable, and especially the Togo slouchy one, because I mean, I used to hate the 35, as I previously mentioned in our in part one of this video, but recently I've had I found a newfound love has emerged towards the 35 Togo Birkin. But definitely I'm a Kelly girl. Okay, so boy or classic CC Chanel?
I don't have any boys, so just a classic flat for me.
Really? You don't like this one? So beautiful. Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
Look at it, guys. This is a boy, a Chanel boy. Yeah. In the previous video I didn't show you any, but I'm actually a big fan. I think it gives you a very cool and sporty look. Yeah. You can get this in Cellier, Knightsbridge.
Yes, you can.
Any special ones that you want to show us? Talk about?
I'm quite feeling this one. And it's a bit of an unusual Chanel flat bag. So this is from the early noughties. So it represents prime Y2K vintage. What I like about it is that it's got this kind of chocolate lambskin leather and then this really nice contrasting silver hardware. I just think that's quite fab and really modern and effortless. So
I think it's fabulous. I agree completely.
Feeling that.
And you know what I also like? I think it has the chain is very similar to the 255.
Yeah.
But then it's a CC, and I think it's very cool.
Yeah,
and,
it's very cool.
It makes it quite usable and
absolutely.
Yeah, very different. Okay, so I have spotted one Hermes bag
Yes.
on the shelf, and I would quite like to see that one, if you don't mind.
And the reason you've spotted one Hermes bag is obviously because they are so popular.
So in
the
demand.
minute they come in, they go straight back out,
Yeah.
so we really never have anything on the shelves. So this is a Kelly 35.
Oh wow, it's beautiful.
The colour-
Oh, actually, that orange used one I told you
Was
about is a 35, not
yeah.
a 32. Yes.
So
yes.
the colour is parchemin. So it's like a cream colour with a beigey undertone, and it has gold hardware.
Speaking of colors, what do you think about the fact that they do so many colors that are so similar to each other? Such as, for example, this could be nata or parchemin or cray. You know what I mean? So those are all Hermes colors, cream Hermes colors.
Yeah,
I mean, the
exactly.
shade is pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting because so a new cream comes out, and it's very good for marketing because people think, okay, I might have a cray, but I need a nata, even though it's a very similar colour, but people still want to expand their collections within the same colour family. So,
but can I?
Yes, of course.
Why? How much would this go for example?
So this one I think is 7,400.
Okay.
So it's
That's very well priced.
really good price. It's actually below official Hermes retail. So
Yeah,
it's
I was going to
buy.
say, it's below the market price, even for a used one.
Yeah. And it's in great condition.
And it's in great condition. It's actually perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some fair wear and tear, but it's absolutely,
maybe a little bit.
This is definitely something I would totally, as I mentioned before, I like used bags because they're, I mean, I don't know, I kind of worry about them less. So I actually enjoy buying used ones. So yeah, this is lovely, beautiful. What do you think is the reason so many people go for a resale as opposed to purchasing in the store? Besides the fact that obviously it's not so easy to get a bag in store. However, I have previously mentioned this, if you are a good client, normally you can technically get what you want in store, but you just have to wait for it a little bit and so on. So, but I know that a lot of clients of Hermes, they still buy resale.
Yeah.
I am one of them, for example. So I buy both. So
I also, like you, I buy resale because sometimes if I really want a particular spec, I know that even if the store might offer me something, it won't necessarily be that spec, especially because the pieces I like are normally newer, more difficult to get bright colors, not neutrals. So that's one reason I'll buy resale. A lot of our clients also say that they find the process of going into the store a bit intimidating, especially if it's a new store where they don't have a relationship, and for them it's just easier to go online, add to cart, and it's done.
That is so strange, you know, with people with means to buy Hermes goods, especially ones with a premium. I mean, it's just baffling to me that going into a store could be intimidating, you know what I mean? But I completely understand, because I've been on that end of the stick. I have been, so I completely understand, So I presume you have a massive collection of bags? Yes or no?
It's okay.
Well, I mean, a bag reseller should most likely have a lot of bags in their collection. Do you have a favorite or a few favorites?
My favorites always change depending on the season, my mood. I think I have a few.
But is there a bag that under no circumstances would you ever sell, for example, or even no matter how ruined it is and no matter how...
I think that there's a bag that my husband got me for Valentine's Day. It was the first bag he bought me, and it's completely not what I would buy for myself. It's a Birkin 35 in box leather, navy blue. It's quite kind of not me at all, but I love it so much just because he bought it for me and it makes it quite special. For us, one of the reasons that we are so kind of good as a business is that we keep our prices competitive. And whilst I can source, what I don't like is going to a client and asking them to pay a crazy premium on something, you know? So yeah, I can source a Birkin at 25k, but do I want to do that? No. Which is why I always say I'd rather not.
Okay, I see.
Unless someone really wants to pay that, but even then, it's painful for me.
So, what is the general market price for a new Birkin, a new Kelly? Like, let's start with 25 size 25.
It's very as you said, it's very spec specific and color specific. So at the moment, in the market, they're starting at around £19,000.
That's a lot. That's much more than a few years ago.
It's much more than a few years ago.
Yeah.
I used to buy in brand new ones from other resellers for 12.
Yeah.
And think, oh, it's so much.
No, 25 used to be 11.
Yeah.
I remember buying it for 11.
Yeah. And now other resellers start at around 19, 20.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, you heard that right. Anyways, I'd like to thank you so much. It was brilliant, and this was lovely to come in here and, you know.
Thank you. So this is one of the most special bags that we have in right now. It's a 22S, which means summer collection, Chanel medium lambskin classic flap. What makes this particular bag so special is that it's the most sought after colour that Chanel have produced probably in the last 10 years. It resells at a premium of around 35% to official RRP. So it's a good one. And obviously it's sold within 5 seconds of going online.
So guys, that was a professional's view on why these bags are in such high demand and why they are investment pieces. Now like and subscribe for more lifestyle content. See ya.